issues that are happening back home in the Gambia. And during this program, I would like for all of you to contribute. You can send us a text message. That is, if you have my WhatsApp. And if you don't, you can also send me a text on, you can also send me a text on Messenger. That is, if you have my Messenger. I'm trying to see if we can also go live on Instagram. So you'll be able to watch both on Instagram and also on our Facebook. But today, like I said, we will start the program. We're talking about the coronavirus money, the COVID-19 money. There's been a lot of talk out there. People are trying to understand what really is happening. And the Fatu Network has been trying to reach out to officials back home in the Gambia so that we'll be able to bring you all the information that you all need. But before we go to all of that, today is Sierra Leone's Independence Day, and Sierra Leone is 59 today. I would like to take this opportunity to wish Sierra Leoneans a very happy independence and also pray for them for the best, and also Ramadan Mubarak to all of them. I would like to play this video clip, which is about 1 minute, to wish every Sierra Leonean, including my own sister, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Fatima Marebio. If you're watching, happy independence to you, and of course to His Excellency the President.
The hills and the valleys re-echo our cry. Blessing and peace be ever thine own. Let that we love our Sierra Leone.
First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Mrs. Fatima Marebio.
I know my country is the most beautiful country in the world. I am here today stepping up to spread the word that we have a responsibility to protect this Garden of Eden we call Sierra Leone.
High we exalt thee, realm of the free. Great is the love we have for thee. Firmly united, ever we stand, singing thy praise, O native land. We raise up our hearts and our voices on high. The hills and the valleys re-echo our cry. Blessing and peace be ever thine own. Let that we love our Sierra Leone.
Okay, welcome back. If you're just joining us, I am Fatu Kamara, and this is Fatu's Take. And we're trying to get connected from the Gambia. So if there are any issues, we would like to apologize. We're trying to see how this will go. And from here, then we will be able to see if it doesn't work. Then we will do live right from where I am. But like I said, today we will be talking about the COVID dollars. Of course, there's a lot of money that we're hearing that's been coming in. And just to let you all know, we're also live on Instagram. So if you would like to watch on Instagram, you can join us on there. And my Instagram is @Fatu Show. That's @FATUSHOW. And that's @Fatu Show. So yes, we are talking about how the COVID dollars, how they are being spent right now. The Minister for Finance was at the National Assembly last Tuesday, and he spoke to lawmakers. And of course, there are still questions, according to lawmakers that I spoke to today, that there are questions that they still have that they would like to ask. I'm sure that the Ministry of Finance will have to go back there again, because there are some things that the National Assembly members asked for, which they would have to make available for them to them. And that is when they got there, they did mention that out of the 500 million that the money that's been allocated, which is a reallocation from the government of the Gambia, the lawmakers wanted to know how that money was spent. If you can recall, when the minister went there, he said it already 148 million was spent. But today we found out that at least almost 160 million has been spent, and we're going to explain to you where they said officials at the Ministry of Finance said that money went. And also, if you are also following, there's also been a 47.1 million US dollars, which was put in by the IMF. And a lot of people thought that this money is also part of the corona money, but we've been trying to find out. And when we reach officials at the Ministry of Finance, they did tell us that that amount is an extended credit facility arrangement for the Gambia, which was approved on the 23rd of March 2020. What this money would do, it is like a backup money that the central bank would need. So this money is definitely, according to officials, is not part of the corona money. It would also be important for you all to know that the Gambia government has also benefited from debt relief, which was provided to all countries eligible for support from the International Development Association, and this is in the form of grant assistance catastrophe containment, which is the CC window of the CC, which is the Catastrophe Containment and Relief Trust, and this would go to the sum of it would go for 6 months, and it would be for 2.9 million, which could also be extended subject to availability of resources. So this money, that's the 47.1, that money is actually not part of the COVID money. This is money that is given to the government of the Gambia as a backup to use. What I'm trying to do right here is to go back to the notes and tell you exactly what we are told about that money that we just mentioned, because I know there's a lot of talk out there, people trying to find out what really is happening. So that's the ECF, which is 47, and that's for 47.1 million, and that's for 3 years reserve. That's for balance of payment. That money actually goes to central bank. And then now we talk about the 500 million, which is a reallocation of funds, which officials at the Ministry of Finance told me that the minister has the power to do this by the Public Finance Act is what gave the minister the right to be able to do to request for a reallocation. As you all know, right now, the corona pandemic is around and not a lot of people are traveling. So what the ministry did was to go to the other ministries and kind of cut money from their budgets. And that is the 500 million that is allocated to the Ministry of Health. We'll also talk more about that. But we understand that the Office of the President cut from their travel money about $20 million, which is cut from their travel money, and also PMO also cut money from their training program. The National Audit Office, they also cut about 16 million from them. The Ministry of Health also cut from on their consultancy budget. There is money that they have for consultancy. A cut was made to this budget so that they can use it. That is how the 500 million was raised. Of course, the Ministry of Environment, also from the OMVG project, they also cut out about 100 million. The Office of the Vice President, also some amount was cut out from there. The PMO, the National Assembly, of course, 4 million was cut from their travel budget. The Judiciary, of course, they also cut about 2 million from their budget. The Public Service Commission money was also cut from them. The Tourism Department and the Ministry of Foreign Finance and Economic Affairs, the money was also cut from them. The Local Government Ministry, Agriculture, and basically Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Environment, MOISI, which is the Ministry of Communication, Ministry of Higher Education. All of them had some money cut from their budget, which is how the 500 million came about that we've all been hearing about. So out of the 500 million, this is why a lot of talk has been going on about, because people want to know how was this money spent. Remember, I said this is the money that is put aside for the Ministry of Finance to use so that they can buy stuff. And the Ministry of Finance actually sent out a press release kind of today, this afternoon, to kind of explain to people what really is happening with the money. And they did say that the COVID-19 emergency fund, 500 million, is totally independent of the budgetary allocations of the Ministry of Health. And remember, I just said that this is money that was cut from all these different ministries, which was cut from their budget, some from their travel allowance and all of that. So the funds are in a separate project amount, and it is managed by an independent committee, according to a statement from the Ministry of Finance. And they said this is co-chaired by the permanent secretaries of Health and also Finance. This is what we are told. And we are told that this money is what they are using to buy, let's say, they said the expenditure is mostly on medical equipment. That's the 500 million is used to buy medical equipment, and this includes, according to the information from the Ministry of Finance, it's mostly on medical equipment supplies, training, purchase of ambulances, and pickup trucks for frontline workers. That's what it says. Hotel accommodation for quarantined individuals, repair of health facilities, among other things. This is what they said this money is being used for. Again, people are asking, can we also know how this process is going? So the people that I spoke to said what they do is they ask for people to put in their tenders. So they would say they would take from 3 people, and then there is a board that would sit over it and say, okay, the Ministry of Finance wants to buy an ambulance, and who can provide this? So they would look at 3 quotations, and then they will go with the best. And they said after all of this is spent, they do report back to the Ministry of Finance. So this is from the Ministry of Finance to try to explain to us that they are being very, very transparent with how this 500 million is being spent. So as we speak now, at least 160 million has been spent from the 500 million that we're talking about. And this would also get people to ask about the 10 million. If you could remember, there was also a 10 million which came from the World Bank. We all saw the press release. I could remember people were even complaining, saying, well, why didn't the government tell us this? Why do we have to wait for the World Bank to take out this press release? I also saw it online. But according to the Ministry of Finance, the 10 million from the World Bank was never handed to the Gambia government. They're saying, no, we did not touch this money. What happened was the World Bank said, okay, Gambia, we have $10 million for you. And then the $10 million, this is what happened to it. According to finance officials, they said it was used in collaboration with the World Bank to purchase vital medical equipment and ventilators. They want to buy more ventilators and also ambulances. They're buying medical equipment, medical supplies, etc. To the Republic of Turkey. So this money actually went to Turkey. It did not even land in the Ministry of Finance. But if you look at these two, the amount from the 500 million, they're buying ambulances there as well. They're also buying medical supplies from there. And you also look at the 10 million, they're also buying ambulances from there. They're also buying medical supplies from there. I don't know if this is an oversight, but I think it would be very good if the Ministry of Finance can look into this, because they don't want a situation where there will be a duplication. Because then what's going to happen? You will have ambulances from this side and also have them on the other side. And you can use that money to save money. Like they said, the front line workers, they're doing a whole lot and they may need at least a pay rise or something. And I can see they're buying pickups and all of that for them. So this is what the Ministry of Finance is saying. It's actually a long one. But the Fatu Network is trying to have an interview with them. And once this is done, you will be able to hear from the permanent secretary. We've asked for interviews. And I just want to add that it was really, really difficult. It was very tough for me to be able to talk to any of the government officials. I think this is something that they need to look at, because I made it clear to them when I called them. I said, look, when we call you, what we're trying to do is to do our job. We want to be accountable to the people, because the people will always blame journalists. If you watch Facebook, I mean, it hurts so bad. But people do it all the time. Oh, Gambia do not have journalists. Oh, we have no journalists in this country. They're not trying to find out. Yes, we are trying to find out, but sometimes it's very difficult to get information. Like I spend the whole morning today trying to have information. Sometimes when you write to them and they ask who you are, if you say you're a journalist, that is the end. You don't hear from them again. So that also was a bit tough for us. But again, I'm sorry, I coughed the last time and somebody said, do you have corona? But basically, during the Ramadan, because I drink a lot of water, so my throat is always very dry. So now that money, the 47.1, I think now is clear that money is actually extended credit facility, which is for the Gambia. And the one that is for us, that is, and I also need to go back to my notes to make sure that I give you all the right information. So there is another amount of money, which is the rapid credit facility. This is the $1 million. I'm sure you've also heard that the World Bank, the IMF, gave $21.3 million to the Gambia. So this is actually a loan and it is interest free, because a lot of people also wanted to know what is going to happen to this money. How much are we paying? Is this a loan? But that money is actually for the coronavirus pandemic. As you can see, this is a global pandemic that is, not helping any economy in the world. Everywhere, it is the same problem. It's putting on a lot of strain on economies. So we also try to find out what really happened with that money. So that's 21.3. This is a disbursement to the Gambia to address the COVID-19 pandemic. So with this money, the IMF said, okay, hi Gambia, we have $21.3 million for you. So what Gambia did, Gambia needed this money, and they don't want to wait until all that process is done. So what they did, they run to the Central Bank of the Gambia and say, hello, we are trying to get a repeat credit facility, modification of performance. They actually said that they needed this money in advance so that when the money came from IMF, they'll be able to replace that money with the credit that they took from from the Central Bank of the Gambia. So that money is $21.3 million. So if you're good with math, that would tell you that this money is actually over, I think it is over 1 billion. But the Gambia government took 1 billion from the central bank. So note that down. The difference, you also have to calculate that and make sure that we have the whole amount. So this is what we know about the COVID-19 fund. Well, what we're trying to do, we're trying to have the Minister of Finance to come to the Fatu network and talk to us. And I'm sure if that happens, all of you would be able to have all the information that you need. And this way, maybe you would stop calling journalist names. So the other thing that I want to talk about here again is the Vice President was talking about that labor was a challenge. This is when they were trying to take the rice down. That was the rice that was procured. We are going to talk about the procurement process. We were able to reach the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Trade, and he spoke to the Fatu network. The interview is actually 25 minutes. I will not be able to play all of that for you right now, but what we will do, we will play about 4 or 5 minutes of that interview, and the rest will be aired on the Fatu network tomorrow during the news review. So the vice president said that, and that statement did not sit well with a lot of people. There are people saying, oh no, why would the vice president say this? I even heard people saying, why don't you bring your own children? I mean, these are all comments that were on Facebook. People were saying, this is not the type of job that we want. And other people were saying, where was this advertised? We did not see any advertisement anywhere. How do you want us to rush and just stand by the McCarthy Square and just be waiting for something that we were not expecting? So the Fatu network was out today to talk to a few people about this. But before that, okay, let's play that and then I will give you my take on that. So let's watch that video, what the youth have to say to the vice president.
It doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, where did you put the job advertisement? How are we going to know it's a job of that nature available? And at the end of the day, you want us to work for 1 day, 2 days? How long is it? I mean, you can't find something that's going to last. We want something that you could work continuously at 9 to 5, say 5 days a week. But you want me to come break my back for a day that I don't even know that is existed? And at the end of the day, man, we're suffering, sister. You know, if all you can think of us is general hard labor as a nation, the way we headed, we're doomed. You know, would Aisha Ture and all these bigger heads, will they let their kids do that? Ah, sister, yow bu de yow fi xam nga fi su la gisee ngay def yena fu sa ngi liggéey sa xeeb neen la. You know, te nekkul ne du den bañ liggéey. Fii dafa métti, sister, yow da nga banan koo xam nga dugga si pan bi. Dëkk bi kañ nga gëj a dégg woot bi raba. It doesn't exist anymore. Fii doo musa comme time bu it was hope. Da nga ewu suba. Boy, we entrepreneurs. Looloo tax ñu ne raba. Mairie sa den laa ne raba. Waaye léegi kenn du raba. Looy raba. Tanga gisut loy muna am nga loy muna make move or anything like that. You create lo what employment. So you di fi toge 3 years you lo musa halat lo muna halat lek moy nakala tudati pour lu dem job hard labor. You bu gaay di def pax yi ni pax yi bu ko gaay di gas. Advertising pour Gambian youths pour le fit te paani pax yi lu ko gars yi doon gasee ay so am na ñoo xam ne they will make it $800 a day yow soo ko waxoon youth si Gambia yi but you give these people this contract ñoo ñëw ñoom nooy def contract bi they bring their own employees and stuff like that when you can get employees from over here I guarantee you ne ñu gas pax bi yëpp 90% of them were foreigners because we're not given that opportunity you know fii soo demee si raba ndoo yi fii ndoo yu bëree fi leen ñefe ndoo yu bëree bëgg a liggéey waaye fa la noo utee liggéey nga bëgg ma ñëw di liggéey $2,000 si amoon every day loolu laay fay paas di dem liggéey pour fay paas lekk just pour ne maa ngi liggéey sister loolu tam nag yombut de you know fii amee bëgg ne doo liggéey waaye ñaaka liggéey a fi nekka waaw so suñu gars yi mënu tee dimbale bu nu xas.
In relation to the Vice President's statement, I'm sure people are echoing it all over the country, and there are a lot of rumors going around, circulating in social media, talking about why should the Vice President utter such statement, pretty prata, you know. My own take on this is just simple. I believe, on one hand, she may be right that some of the youths don't actually want to be engaged, because if you see the country right now, a lot of things that people are doing are being actually done by foreigners. So our own people, on one hand, seems to be sidelined because they are not doing what they are expected to do sometimes. Because we take certain jobs for granted. We don't want to be seen doing casual works, which I believe she may be right to say that. But on the other hand, if you look at it also, the pay of such jobs does not actually give people the motivation to come and venture into it. And that is why I believe to carry bags of rice and at the end of the day you have pain in your neck or experience some body pain and you don't have the proper payment also, maybe some of the reason why people don't actually want to venture into such things. But for me, I believe she had her reason, or she had good reason to say that Gambian people don't want to work. I know of many people who don't want to actually engage themselves into petty works that other foreigners are doing. And you know, this country, we are heavily dependent on aid, and that is why we need to also carve some.
It doesn't make sense.
I know of many people who don't want to actually engage themselves into petty works that other foreigners are doing. And you know, this country, we are heavily dependent on aid, and that is why we need to also carve some.
It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so two members of youth there, Gambian youth, speaking their mind about what they think about what the vice president said, that they had a big challenge with labor and that young people in the Gambia are kind of lazy because they did not go out there to do laborer jobs. So the youth are saying, no, it's not because we don't want to do this one. We don't know about it too. This is also a one-day job. And I've heard a lot of people talking about, was this advertised? They wanted to know where was the advertisement made, how would they be able to find that, because they cannot read minds. But my take on here is, if you give this kind of opportunity to, the suppliers who were supposed to supply these food items, why were they not able to take their own laborers and carry the food? Because what happened, I did this recently, even though mine is not as much as the government's one, but we were able to have laborers. And also where we purchased the stuff, they drove it all the way to Kiang, and they had people who actually helped with offloading the rice and the sugar. So I think it would be good next time for the government to talk to those who have the contract, so they'll be able to get people to do this for them. Other people went to the extent of saying, what happened to the Barrow Youth Movement? They were like, they're supposed to be there to support the president's agenda. But again, remember, I told you that this rice and sugar is actually not the president's. This is from the government of the Gambia. And that's part of the money that I was reading to you right here. This is all the money that was put together for the Gambia, for the government of the Gambia to be able to help the people, especially during this global pandemic. Another issue that I want to talk about again was the vice president was also quoted as saying, actually she said it on the audio, I think I still have the audio right here, where she was saying that the package will be distributed and this will be carried out by governors. She mentioned chiefs, alkalolus, and strong supporters of the president. I do not get that part. Strong supporters. I hope they do understand that this is not for politics. This is not supposed to be for politics. This is something that Gambians that is for Gambians. And I think I have that video right here. And I want to play that so you all can also hear what the vice president said when she mentioned that part of this would go to strong supporters. Just give me a second so you can hear this.
We are supplied with this food, and therefore, this is just the beginning. We need to bring some of these things so that the president will have the time to address the nation and inform them about the COVID package that he is releasing to them. That is why we are here today. Everything we want to do it with transparency. We want to do it with due diligence, following the due processes. That is why today he was advised to wait until tomorrow at 12 o'clock to address the nation. And then from here, lorries and trucks will move in different directions of the country to reach out to the various regions. The governors are going to be responsible in taking a lead in this, together with the chiefs and the alcaldes, with some supporters around who will be observers, so that they would implement these things effectively and efficiently to each and every individual household in the Gambia. So there is nothing but the preparations that we are putting into it. And as you can see, labor was a challenge. You'll find that most of the...
So she did mention that they want to make sure that this reach everybody in the Gambia, but the part that where she was talking about strong supporters, that's the part that I did not get, because this should definitely have nothing absolutely to do with politics. So I hope that the vice president would look into that statement and make sure, like she said, that this is given to the governors, the chiefs, alkalolus, so that they'll be able to take the lead, like she said, in the distribution process of the food items. We're talking about strong supporters. I think they need to look at that word again and make sure that this is not for any militant or something like that. Yes, they are Gambians, but in this case right here, it should not be strong supporters. It should be about Gambia and Gambians. Until when election is here, then if you want to do your strong supporters, you can support your strong supporters. And the tender process. That's also something that everybody's been talking about. What actually happened, the Ministry of Trade put out a statement on an advertisement on the newspapers to say that they're calling for tender. But I'm very prepared. I made sure that I have all this information here that I'm going to be talking about. So if you look at on the newspapers, it says that tender announcement for procurement of COVID-19 emergency food support. So they did call for this and say that they want all the bids must be submitted on or before 12 p.m. Banjul time GMT on Friday, the 24th of April, 2020. It says Friday, the 24th of April, 2020 at 12 p.m. But what many do not understand is by early morning of the 25th, the food items were already there. And now this got people to question what really happened. What actually happened here? Was that just a yamarisindo? Was that just to say, okay, this is what we want to do, but then, they already gave it out? So the Fatu Network was able to speak to the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Trade to shed light on this information and tell us how did that happen? Like you put in a tender and say 25th early morning, the stuff are already there. So we're going to listen to that interview of the permanent secretary, what he told the Fatu Network this afternoon at his office in Banjul. Stay tuned.
You also have to understand we are looking at two levels. The other level is we have a percentage that you wanted to allocate, so that that could be presented as a form of a symbol at the how do you call it, Market Square. Because if the president wants to talk about this, he has to show something to Gambians that the government is ready. But the government is ready to do this, and government is ready.
Government in a haste, in a rush to do that when these contracts have not been approved.
That also went through a process. That the ones that you show at Magasco also went through a process. And that process, and that was only given to small players. That was no big player was involved in that. That was why you could even see when we asked the small suppliers to supply, they even were struggling because some were bringing 1,000, some were bringing 2,000, some were bringing 3,000. Because we want this benefit to spread. We don't want the big players to monopolize it. And that was why we mobilized certain number of small players. There is no big player that was involved. We only mobilized small players, and there are a number of them that were involved to supply, so that can support that particular event, and becomes part of the process. But it does not mean that, because what we planned in the papers, it was one person who supplied everything, but the contract was exclusively given to that. That's not the case. These were given to governments, then these are small players. Many of them are even women. Majority of them who supply were even women.
So how many people applied and how many people did you approve after your evaluation, of course?
Our evaluation, we have 44 people applied, 44 businesses applied. And we awarded 34 businesses. Only 10 could not qualify. And if you look at that, because if you look at the total number of people who have applied and the quantity that I've stated, it's over 1 million. In terms of rice, the quantity is more than 1 million. If you look at sugar, it's also over 1 million. And we are looking at something around 230,000. Then now, if you have 1 million, you cannot absorb that. Then you have to eliminate some other people. And we use a very transparent criteria that eliminate some people, that could not succeed, in order to be able to get to the threshold that we want. And that's what we... Yeah, one of the most important criteria is that the price that you quote, should not be very much higher than the price that, we have as our ceiling, because we have a ceiling. And this ceiling also varied. If you look at the...
In terms of rice, for example, what was your ceiling?
The rice, our ceiling was 1,250 per bag. And sugar was 1,450. And this is only for small businesses. That's not for the importers. Importers, we quoted a lower price for them. Just to make sure that, the small businesses, because our assumption is that these small businesses will go to this importer to take it. Then when they go there and take it, they will still have a margin. And that's why we make that price differences. But the importers that participate, they don't need to go to anybody to buy it and have that margin, because it's with them. They are the owners of the stock. Then that's the reason why we have that differential margin, prices. Then you have one for the small businesses, that is the retailers, so that because we don't only want them to participate, but we also want them to participate so that they benefit from this as a stimulus, so that they can also, within this period, they can also be able to support their business. No, this is not true. Because the president was not in charge of the process. Then how can he exclusively give the contract to Fatoumata Jawara and Abubakar Jawara? I know both of them. I know Fatoumata Jawara. I know Abubakar Jawara. I know both of them.
Part of the people that got approved, that one?
Abubakar Jawara, his business is Gaj, and Gaj has not applied.
How about Fatoumata Jawara?
Fatoumata's business, because it's a small business player, and it belongs to a women group, and the women group has applied. The women's group has applied.
And they won?
Yes, I think one or two of the groups applied. They won. Because some women, they come together and apply. So it was also part of a group of women that also applied.
And they won?
And they won, yes. Because we gave preferences to women. There's certain points that we agree that women should have. Because we want to encourage them, and they won. And also, they looking at all the criteria that you set, you also have to understand. You also have to understand.
Okay, so that's the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Trade, right there, talking to Lamin Jai, trying to explain the process that was used in the procurement of the rice, oil, and sugar that is for COVID-19 support, which is for every Gambian in the country. He did mention that the items at the park were by small suppliers, so one would wonder why they did not wait for the entire process to be completed before they could just get small supplies to do this. But what the permanent secretary has to say about this is that they did not want to get the president to go all the way to the park, and there was nothing. So they had to get small suppliers to get some part of the stuff before the president get there. And he also did say that they do not want big suppliers to monopolize it. So this is how they get small suppliers to get in. And then he did say that 44 people or companies applied, but he did mention that only 34 were awarded and the other 10 could not qualify. He did mention that the margin for rice was 1,250, which is high, but and sugar, he said, was 1,450, because sugar, if you're buying per retail, is 1,400. Wholesale will be about 1,300 to 1,275. Rice, the best one, is 1,200, and if you want to buy a whole lot, is either 1,100 if you have a good deal, or 1,150. But he did mention that the Gach guy, because a lot of people wanted to know, is he part of this? He did mention that the Gach guy was not part of this whole process, but his sister, Fatoumata Jawara, is a part of it. And the PS did mention that Fatoumata came in as a group with some women group. So, but she definitely is part of the 34 people who were awarded this contract. So now that the small suppliers drop in what they have, we're trying to wait and see when the big suppliers would take in their stuff and how the whole process ended. Because I know right now, I spoke to someone in Banjul to trying to find out how the one in Banjul will be distributed, but they've not been called in yet to explain to them what is going to happen to the rice. So what we're going to do right now is to call Kemeseng in Gambia. Kex, he was at the National Assembly, and he's going to talk to us about the questions that the National Assembly members put to. Okay, so Fatmata Jawara, yes, somebody is telling me he's a very close friend. Oh, okay, to this person. I don't want to mention the person's name on air, but somebody is telling me who they're connected to. I think Fatoumata is Bubakar's sister and a very close friend to somebody who's very, very powerful in the country. So is that the reason why she got the contract? We do not know. So we're going to take what the permanent secretary told us for now. But one thing, though, I want to say is that the permanent secretary, when we contacted him, he is the only one who answered and gave us an interview. Everybody at the Ministry of Finance was running away from us. And I do not understand this. At some point, I was saying to them, oh, please, we're trying to help you. Because then if you explain these things, people will get to understand, and that will be good for you. But the moment you say, oh, if they ask which Fatu Kamara, and I said Fatu Network, that will be the last conversation that we have. So we want you all to help us with this, the government of the Gambia. Talk to the media. We're not enemies. We're not going to put you in a bad light. We just want the people to know, because that's our responsibility. That's what we owe the people, to be able to tell them what is happening in the country. And we should have all these answers from you, because we are not experts in this department. And I have Kex on the line. Kemesen. Hello, Kex. Yes, Kex, I'm live. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about the COVID money, the COVID dollars, and I actually gave a roundup of everything that I know from people on the ground, but the finance ministry was running away from me. All of them that I called, they don't want to talk to me. But I know you were at the National Assembly, and the Minister for Finance was there last Tuesday. What actually happened there?
Yeah, thank you once again, Fatu, for having me on your platform, and good evening to all your viewers. Once again, thank you very much. Actually, the minister was at the National Assembly. He was summoned by the select committee that was tasked to look at the implementation and the monitoring of the COVID-19 case in the Gambia, which was under the chairmanship of Alhaji Mbo and vice chairmanship of Sana Jawara. So they summoned the minister to set lights on the 500 million. That is the most talked about issue in the Gambia in regards to how the money was actually put together. And he gave us the breakdown how they were able to gather the money together and how much has been spent so far, and they want the breakdown of how much has been spent. So, but unfortunately, we were not able to get the breakdown of 148 million that has so far been spent, according to the minister, but he gave us how the money was gathered. And through his explanation, we made to understand that this was environment. When you talk about environment, it's like cutting, like going to Ministry of Youth and Sport and cut a small token there from their budget. Education cut another portion there, go to all the ministries. So it was gathered and they were able to have half of it, that's $500 million.
Yes, that's the 500 million. Yeah, that was a reallocation.
Yeah, so that was the environment. So they were able to gather it. But what people get to understand is that this is not a money that is like gathered together and it was put into one account. But actually, this is the intention of the government, and they have looked at the areas that are not much are needed right now. Like they look at the travel area, they look at the training area.
Some allowances. Yeah,
allowances, and there's no public gathering, so there will be no training in the ministries, like people gathering together and conduct training and the traveling. So how much was cut when you combine all the ministries? $60 million was cut for travel, because when I made the post or when I ministered and I write, people were saying, so all this money were travel, but actually only $60 million out of the $5 million was for travel. Then the
out of the 500 million, only 60. Did you say 60 million?
Yeah, $60 million was the one that was actually cut from all the travels from the various.
And this is from all the different ministries.
From the office of the president up to the last ministry, that's the Human Affairs and Children and Disabled. So 60 million was gathered together, from travel, and the other came from the meetings and that of the training and some of the procurements that are not necessary.
Okay.
So he gave a breakdown of this thing, but he told us that this money is geared towards health and health issues.
Yeah, that's the one that they said would buy ambulances and medical supplies and pickup trucks. Yeah,
trucks, and even the centers that are located to be checking on people, in terms of testing centers, and that of even looking at some of the health facilities, like the Jabakunda health facility will be upgraded to a standard whereby they can have these testings and other things, and ambulance will be brought there, and they will definitely use the money for Gambia to prepare itself in terms of
but the problem with that, I don't mean to cut you short right here, but the other issue is the World Bank gave another 10 million, but that's the 10 million that they said wasn't handed over to them. It was given straight away to Turkey, because they're also trying to buy ambulance with that money. So it looks like there's a duplication, because they're buying the 10 million that the World Bank sent to Turkey, that they're going to be buying supplies and ambulances and ventilators, and they're also buying supplies and ambulances with the 500 million.
Yes, actually, that's what we had. But according to the statement that was given to the National Assembly, if you go through the document, you will find out that what was the minister said was that the money that is coming from the IMF that they make that they lend from the central bank, that is what they call rapid credit.
That's the 21.3 million.
Intended to assist the government.
Yeah, that's the 21.3.
Yes, what they said, according to the statement, is that they will use this money in terms of trying to build the economic structure of the country and the policies to limit the risk of the breakdown of the virus into the country, and look at the business that are affected and see how best they can help even the vulnerable people that were affected. This was what they told us, and the document, that's what is been circulated to the National Assembly members. So if we have another story different from what has been tendered to the National Assembly,
that's a different amount. That's the 10. That's the. Yeah, this is the 10 million that was given by the World Bank. But before you go, just one more thing before you go. I understand that the lawmakers are calling on the minister to send them and like how everything was spent. Like they need, that's what they're saying that they want to see. Do you know how this is faring? Is the minister going to go and take that to them, or is it over now? Yeah, it looks like, hello?
Yeah, the minister was actually brought on Thursday when the request was made.
He was supposed to go back.
Yes. I said the minister was very bold when he was asked that question that can he police the National Assembly, the members with the breakdown of what happened.
Did he say he would bring the breakdown?
He said before 4 o'clock he would send the government to the National Assembly.
But then, what he's saying is that the minister said he was going
to the National Assembly. But up to today, I checked. I called the National Assembly to find out whether the document has been given to the National Assembly members, the breakdown of the 148 million. But
okay.
That was on Thursday. But
yes, I think that the line is really.
Because I spoke to a few National Assembly members.
Okay. Okay, I think the line is really bad, but I think I understand what you're trying to say is that the minister did say that he was going to make the breakdown available by 4 o'clock p.m., but they did not hear from the minister, and that breakdown they did not receive. So I'm trying to see if I can reach a member of the National Assembly very quickly, because we have about maybe about 10 minutes to end this program, but before that, let me try to reach a member of the National Assembly. I'm not sure they're going to pick up right now, to try to see what they have to tell us. Okay, it's like we're not able to reach a member of the National Assembly. We can try one more time and see, or maybe just send a message. This is a member of that committee that the minister faced when he went to the National Assembly on Tuesday to talk to them. And just like Heck said, he actually did promise that he was going to send them the breakdown, but could not take it to them. Keksani just said that. So I'm trying to reach a member of the National Assembly who is a member of that committee to ask them what really is happening. Hello? Hello? Hello, Honorable. Hello, Honorable. If you can please switch off your listening device, and then we'll be able to speak. Yeah, it looks like it looks like they're listening, they're watching the show, so I'm not able to talk to them. I'm going to try again. But if you're watching right now, if you want to talk to me right here, you will have to cut down on the volume of your listening device. Otherwise, I would not be able to hear you. So we have about, this program would end at 7:30. That is 7:30 Eastern time right here in the US. So let's try to reach this person again, and then we would see what happened with that. Let's see, I hope. Hello?
Hello, Fatu, is better?
Yes, Honorable, it's better now because you were listening to the show. That's why we couldn't hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was talking to Kex, who was at the National Assembly, and I got a lot of information from the Ministry of Finance about the 500 million, which is a reallocation from the different ministries that they got, and the 10 million that the World Bank gave, which they said was not handed to them. That money went straight to Turkey, where they're buying in ventilators and stuff. And we also talk about the 47.1 million, which is actually not the corona money. This is a reserve for them to keep at the central bank. So what happened at the National Assembly? I understand the minister said he was going to get back to you with a breakdown. Did you hear any word again?
Yeah, we had a committee session with the Minister of Finance on Tuesday, and I guess it was live. Actually, the Gambian, our compatriots were following it live, which I think was a very good thing because it must be held at an open forum. Everybody know because we are taxed to be ever we do to be public for the electorate to be able to hold us accountable as well. For me, I was very disappointed because knowing the fact that the $10 million will not actually come in cash to the Gambia, but in fact it will go to the suppliers of any equipment that we may buy.
Yes.
I myself, personally, I was very disappointed when the minister actually said that he borrowed $5 million. In fact, he said he topped up $5 million from government coffers, knowing fully well, because I am a financial person, knowing fully well that there would be difficulty in returning that money back to wherever it was taken from. Because if we had an agreement with the IMF that the monies were going to be specifically for equipment and that they were going to pay them directly, I think the best thing we could have done was to send them the inventory and the equipment that were ordered for them to do it.
But what was that? What was that $5 million for? Because that's not on here. We know that $10 million is going to Turkey to get the stuff. We know the 47.1 is with the central bank. We know the 21.3.
If you had followed, I don't want to cut you off, but if you had followed what he actually said, which was rather disappointing, was that they only disbursed half of the money, so they had to top it up. So my concern as a public accounts member, as a committee member, is how are we going to reimburse that money, knowing fully well that the IMF will not refund money, but rather the agreement was to purchase equipment. So I think this is where we actually need to look into and make sure that when we sign agreements, we follow agreement. And if we know that we are not going to, we will not be able to adhere to the conditions, we can renegotiate and tell them. But for me, I would rather we follow due process rather than trying to cut and paste here and there, taking that.
But I don't want to cut you short, but did he say where that $5 million was coming from?
I specifically asked them to send us a breakdown of where the monies were coming from. He gave us where the $500 million came from, but the $5 million, he said he borrowed it from, he took it from somewhere, which as of now, I am not sure. I was expecting the Public Accounts Committee, after everything that had happened over the weekend, to actually convene a meeting today so that we can set things straight, because we owe it to the public. They need to hold us accountable so we can also hold the executive accountable. I am not against anybody spending any money, because we know that we are in a situation and these are extraordinary situation and needs extraordinary measures. So I don't think the Parliament would have rejected anything that was proposed to them if it was done openly and transparently. But for me personally, coming to Parliament and telling us specifically what the minister said, that he had informally agreed on a $5 million loan, informally, without any document, that is a major cause for concern. That was why I asked him personally to come back to us with documents so that we'll be able to do proper scrutiny, because we are tasked. Our main function is to do oversight to the executive. We are part and parcel of the state, and we have been elected by the people to ensure that the mega resources of this country are managed properly to the best possible way.
Okay, so my question now is, yes.
What was the question?
Yeah, my question now is, the minister did say to you all, the lawmakers, that he was going to make something available to you. That's the breakdown of expenditures from that time. It was 148 million, and he never came back. So what happened? Is that normal? Is it normal? Is it normal for ministers to tell lawmakers that they're going to be back and just decide, no, I'm busy?
No, they can't do that. I don't think that the minister said that he was busy.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, he didn't say that. I'm just saying, does that happen?
I have never seen that happen, because when we call them, they actually do come, even if it's short notice, because we summoned him on Monday and he actually came on Tuesday. What we asked for was a breakdown of of where the monies came from, as well as the expenditure, where it is going to. As so far, I was told that we received where they came from. I am yet to receive mine, but I'm still waiting because I am particularly concerned about where it is going. Because we need to know that it is going to the right places at the right time. Because at this point, I know personally that Wahoo have sent some equipment. We all know that equipment came from China. We all know that WHO is also helping us. That is why we need to manage the resources that we have and think of getting equipment somewhere else rather than with the meager resources that we have. Because everybody in the world knows the pandemic and how it's going to affect us, especially as a poor country. And if we had proper networking, if we had put the right people at the right places, they would have known how to tap resources. I'm not saying that we are not doing a good job, but we could have done a lot better. For example, with Senegal, they know exactly what they are doing. And at times, people say that we compare Gambia to Senegal. Of course, we will compare Gambia to Senegal because we are all we are all at the ECOWAS. We are all, and especially with Senegal, we are neighbors. If Senegal can come up with perfect strategies, I don't know why we cannot come up with perfect strategies. We have the right, but are they being consulted? That is my problem. Are we being told exactly what is happening? That is my problem.
And you would see, I'm sure when the minister comes back, you'll be able to find out that there are two expenditures right here when it comes to buying of ambulances and medical supplies. The 10 million from the World Bank is going to go towards that. And also part of the 500 million would also go towards that, which would be a duplication.
That is my major concern. That is why I said if we have international donors buying us equipment, we would have diverted our funds into something else, because we all know the effects that this pandemic is going to cause, especially to the most vulnerable. And we don't know how long this is going to last. Even if it were to finish today, the after effects will have a tripling effect. It can last for months before we can get back to normal. It might even last for years. So rather than buying 35 ambulances, what are we going to do with 35 ambulances as of now? By the time they come, how long is that going to take? So I think we need to look at our immediate impact. Right now, we need to think of how to prevent the spread of the disease. And the only way we can do that is to keep our people healthy. Is to make sure that they have food to eat, is to make sure that they have the strength, that their immunity is being protected. Because the lower your immunity, the more impact, the more effect it will be in fighting the virus. If it hits you, it's going to hit you really hard if you have a low immunity. It's really applauded seeing what they have done regarding the relief packages when it comes to food. But we don't only need food, we need nutritious food. Yes, we need, I appreciate the efforts of the government, but that also needs to be looked at, because for me, there are means and ways of procurement.
Yeah, they did talk about that, but also I want to take you back to where you're talking about the food supplies. You are MP for Banjul, and the vice president did mention that the items will be given to governors and chiefs and alkalolus for them to lead in the distribution, and he said strong supporters. Now they're making it political.
She says strong supporters.
Yes, she did say.
They said, I've not had strong support.
Yes, she said it. I have the audio. I have the audio.
84% of the population. And I would support that, because at least if I don't expect myself to be part of that 84, I think at least I can feed myself for the next few months if need be. And by the way, I'm being paid my salary. So I would expect them to give it to people that are adversely affected. And I think that 84% is perfect. I think you cannot give it to 100% of the population, of course.
So what about her comment? What about her comment about that they had a bit of a challenge with labor, because the young people were not there, and they ended up having Senegalese and people from youth from Sierra Leone and Senegal?
If you look at my Facebook page, I wrote something against that because I personally did not take that well. Because for me personally, I know that the youth that I work with, they are very hardworking, and I appreciate every work that they do daily, even without being paid. To be honest with you, the work that the youth in my constituency are doing for me, and I don't even pay them, they come out willingly to do jobs for me, like going down and doing things, making sure that everybody is okay, and you don't even need to pay them for that. All they needed to do was to ask them to come. And I think if that was done, I've not seen any memo or anything. I requested for youth to come and give them a hand or support them. I wasn't even expecting this food stuff to have come out this weekend because the tender was done on Friday. I think it was too fast. Maybe it was, I don't know, prearranged or something. I'm not going to say. But then I wasn't even expecting it at the time that it came, to be honest with you. I don't mince my word, and everybody knows that. So I think for a tender to have been closed on the 24th, and then for the 25th to have produced that amount of food stuff, there's a question mark somewhere.
Well, the PS did explain that. He said that was by small suppliers to make sure that when the president gets there, something will be there. But it is given to 34 people, and the ones that put the stuff there were small suppliers.
I think it is a very good gesture coming from the government headed by His Excellency Adam Barrow, and I gave them a round of applause. I even posted something on my Facebook because it's something that I've been asking for since this pandemic started, that at least we should think of something. And when you listen to what I said at the Parliament, I referred to the Emergency Powers Act specifically, which stated that people affected must be compensated.
Okay.
So I think that 85% would fall. Those people would fall under the people that are affected, because if you are asked to stay at home, obviously they need to feed you. If you are asked to close your shop, you will have lost some income. They will need to give you some compensation.
Well,
I wouldn't expect them to give you money, but at least I would expect them to give you something to feed you. I'm not sure how long this feeding is going to last. Hopefully, this pandemic will soon go away, and then we'll have our life back to
well, thank you very much, Honorable MP. We really appreciate your time. It's about 27 minutes to iftar, where I am. But thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I saw a comment right here where somebody was saying that the strong supporters are observers. So we're saying that there should not be anything like our strong supporters. It should be Gambians. You know how they said the Alkalolus and the chiefs and, the governors. That's how we expect them to say Gambian people. Because right now we can't have strong supporters and stuff like that. It's not election time and there's a pandemic that everybody is worried about. So I'm going to call a Gambian youth. He is going to talk to us about, he's going to give us his take on when the vice president said there was a challenge because the youths did not come out, and that's going to be the last caller. And immediately after that, we're going to end this program because iftar around here will be in about 26 minutes. So we can also get ready. Okay, just hold on. Hello, Danso.
Hello.
Danso, naka nga def ñu ngi live fii Fatu Network, so yow benn part lañ la bëgg a laaj because ñu ngi gis sa Facebook bi yaa ngi bind affaire yi youth si li ñu wax noonu moom lañ la bëggoon a laaj yow lan nga ci wax kasi ñu ne youth si te yow si Gambian youth nga bokka ñu gisuñ leen pour dem jël lii bi maalo bi wàccee ko ñu.
Waaw Fatu maa ngi nuyu ñuy déglu yëpp di wax ne nag ñu ngi rafetlu sa programme bi because li leen soxla si Gambia because right now foog naa ne li yëpp soo leen jógee Gambia yëpp dinañ aware ñu yëpp dinañ aware si luy dugg suñu réew ak luy génn suñu réew lu ma bëggoon a wax nag moo lu ñëpp di wax because youth si Gambien si kenn yëgul lu xew by right one thing moo nekk Gambia dina tuuti suñu youth si because dañ dee toppa di wane suñu Gambien si bëggul liggéey waaye Gambien si bëgg neen liggéey nekk su liggéey amee danay génna liggéey Gambien ni jàmbaar leen te yëfi maalo yi ñoom dañu jël seen own step ñu génnee ko waaye Gambien yëgul youth si yëgul ñu yëpp yëgul because dafa surprise because sista bu génna nii sa wax na lu moom ta wax na waxam te foog naa ne balaa ñuy wax tamit mayor yi alkaalu si ak lifi ni foog naa ne tamit last time defoon naa live waaye xam naa ne ci suma comédie bi moo dee bari waaye dañu war a xam ne tamit mayor yi ñoom dañu campagne as presidents dañ leen votal te mayor yi dina am ay public dina am ay nit te ñu ngi liggéey ak ñu bari ñoo xamante ne foog naa ne su président bi jëlee maalo yi mayor yi dafa ak mayor yi meeting balaa muy génnee maalo yi sax mu meeting ak mayor yi dëkk bu nekk dina mën a am ay nit ñoo xamante dina mën a am supply yoo xamante ne ñu la ne jàppale ci supply bi dina waxante dëgg because mayor bu nekk am na nitam am na ay groupe am te mayor Banjul mayor Serekunda mayor Brikama mayor yi bari na su ooyee mayor Gambie yëpp ñu ñëw ku nekk indi sa ay nit foog naa ne dina fay ay Sénégalais ou ay Malien ou ay Guinéen ñuy def lii nga xamante ne Gambie ñoo ko war a liggéey gis nañ Sénégal Macky Sall lu mu def mayor yi dañu génn ñu jàppale si ak is ay nit yi soo lu tax ñu Gambie waroon ta def loolu loolu tamit dafa Gambie dañ si war a siita dañ si war a wax because dina mën na toog ni waa ay alkaalo yi kenn xam ne waaye alkaalo amul ay nit te Gambie ñu xam ne alkaalo yi kenn xamul leen sax am na ñoo xamante ne koo fi laaj ci alkaalo dafay xaw ma sama alkaalo taaw waaye koo fi ne mayor dina xam ne mayor area council lii ak lii képp ku nekk xam ne luy mayor soo ñun dana war a jóg wax ak suñu gouvernement bi ñu bàyyi dinu nax Gambie ñaa ngi liggéey youth yaa ngi liggéey te xam naa ne youth yi mel ne because lii moom ñëpp a surprise.
Okay. Well, jërëjëf Danso ñun tamit suñ dog mu ngi jot si fii xam naa des na léegi 23 minutes maa ngi yóbbu time bi thank you. Amiin yaa rabbi. Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Well, viewers, that's all that we have time for today. We're going to come back again on Friday. This program, we're trying to make it at least twice a week on Mondays and Fridays, and we'll be back again. But in between, I'll be doing live videos, but this program will all be about issues where we're going to be talking to you about issues, what is happening. We're going to make sure that we have all the information for you. Like I said, many a time you all would say, Gambia, do we even have journalists? But I'm trying to explain how hard it is for us to find information, just like what happened today. It was only the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Trade who was really nice because he was able to give us an interview, but all the rest were running away from us. I just want to call on the government of the Gambia one more time to say this is very good for you if you can come out and give this information that the media needs. We're not going to put you in a bad light or something. We just want to make sure that the people get the correct information and the right information. So it's very, very good if you all will be doing that. Right now, we're going to end this program right here. I would like to thank you all for taking your time to watch this program. And until we come your way again on Friday, thank you very much and have a very good evening. And if this program is coming late, we will try to see what we can do, because a lot of people are sending text messages saying it's already midnight at the end, and some are saying it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So we'll try to see what we can do to make some adjustments. But thank you very much for your time and have a very good one.